Graphing transformations using mapping notation. Example 3. Square root functions. Graph g of x equals to 3 times f at open square bracket 0.5 open round bracket x minus 2 close round bracket close square bracket plus 1 by transforming the base function f at x equals to square root of x. So step 1, we're going to graph the base function using integer points. Step 2, we're going to rewrite the function notation as mapping notation so that we can transform each individual point to get the image points. And then step 3, we're going to use mapping notation to actually find the image points. And then lastly, we will graph these image points and then label the new function. So step 1. So I try to use the point 0, 0, 1 and 1, 4 and 2, 9 and 3, because they are integer points. Okay, all the coordinates are integers. And then I plot the points, and then I join them with a smooth curve. And don't forget to label f of x. Steps 2 and 3, we rewrite function notation as mapping notation and then find the image points. From the function notation, we know that 3 is a, 0.5 is 1 over k, 2 is d, and 1 is c. So we write them into the mapping notation. So we have 2x plus 2. K is 2 because 1 over k is 0.5. And then 3y plus 1 for the y coordinate. And then from our points A, B, C, and D, we derive A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime by performing the calculations. And then we're going to plot the points, and then we will connect the points the best as we could. You would notice that D prime is outside of the grid, so that's okay. We don't need to extend the grid lines to draw the point. We just leave that outside of the grid because we don't need it. And then we label g of x. So with f of x, this is what g of x looks like. What if we want to write an equation for g of x? So let's quickly review how to substitute first. We are given f of x equals to square root of x, which is y. F at 0.5 is square root of 0.5. F at x minus 2 is the square root of x minus 2. F at 0.5 multiplied by x minus 2 is the square root of 0.5 multiplied by x minus 2, and everything is under the radical sign. So now we want to find the square root equation for g of x equals to 3 times f at 0.5 times x minus 2, all in the square bracket, and then plus 1. So we replace the function notation part with the square root part. So we have 3 times square root of 0.5 multiplied by bracket, x minus 2 close bracket, everything underneath the radical sign, and then plus 1. So since the square root of 0.5 is an irrational number, we can leave it under the radical sign instead of combining it with the 3 at the front and end up with some decimal values that has to be rounded.